Hi everyone, it's me, SaintShiba, and this is my series, the Runescape Library, where I'll be showing off what I've learned from playing the game for over 20 years. My goal is to show you at least one new piece of information per video that you did not know. This is Stankers. He's a dwarf that looks after the coal trucks above Sears Village. If you chat with him, he'll offer you a poison chalice. Drinking the chalice will apply a random effect ranging from dealing up to 49 damage to no effect at all, with the game message stating, "It has a slight taste of apricot." Stankers is actually a reference to a real life friend of the Gower brothers and Mod Ash. He would create random concoctions of alcohol and other drinks and then offer them to his friends at university to mix results. The granite shield looks incredibly similar to the island of Gran Canaria. The spike protruding from the shield is also roughly in the same spot as a mountain on the island's map. Karamja is also likely named after the Karamja area of Uganda. NPCs around Karamja will also call you Bwana, which to them means friend. But in Swahili, which is spoken in some parts of Uganda, the word Bwana means boss, master, or mister. Morytania is likely named after the North African country, Morytania, but could also be a reference to the Latin phrase memento mori, considering everything in the place appears to be dying. This could just be a coincidence, but as we're going to see later on in this video, there's a repeated use of Latin throughout the game. Anyway, in the game code, some objects are also referred to as Transylvania, although this was changed at some point during development. I also thought I'd share this pre-release map of Morytania. It was only shown by Jagex on Instagram of all places, and I believe more people should see it. There's some interesting details like Canifis being named Werewolf Village, and what appears to be Berg de Rot named as Town of the Dead. Vampire houses and a skeleton town were also planned to be on what looks like a mountain range, roughly where the Ectofunctus currently is. If you haven't completed Priest in Peril, either a vampire will knock you out, and there's a game message that says you were saved by a bunch of mercenaries who brought you back to the temple, or Abador Crank will appear and say, well, this is no good at all, you'll never survive in Morytania, you'll have to go back, then teleport you out. Strangely enough, you can get this to proc by standing on this tile by the bench, logging out, and then logging back in. Abador Crank is also likely based on the protagonist from Washington Irving's The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. During the Legends quest, you can come across a marked wall which has hieroglyphs on it. This is a texture taken from the real-life pair statue of Nebson and Nebektar. The texture is also reused in a few places around the desert area, including Al-Kharid's palace and Clenter's pyramid. But strangely, it's also used as a texture on the Mage Arena bridge supports. This texture also replaced an older texture. If you loosely translate the hieroglyphs on the older texture, it becomes Anthony Almeida Vega, which was the name of a 3D modeler and animator during the transition from Classic to RuneScape 2. The font used for the original RuneScape logo is used by most Asian restaurants in America and especially within New York. The font is called Shock, and it was created by French typographer and graphic designer Roger X. Coffin. Also, if you go to this location in Grand Theft Auto 5's downtown Vinewood, you'll find a closed down shop called Wanderlust, which looks suspiciously similar to RuneScape's logo. It even mentions magic wands. You can also find this shop by the Vespucci canals. This isn't the only RuneScape reference in the Grand Theft Auto franchise either. If you go to this location in Grand Theft Auto Vice City Stories, you'll find a menu that has monkey nuts and Prunescape prunes. I personally know some Rockstar employees in the UK that have a massive love for RuneScape, and I'm hoping that we see some little nods in Grand Theft Auto 6. By the way, if you know of any other references to RuneScape in other games and media, then leave a comment. If there's enough of them, I'll dedicate a video to them. Gus the guard dog from the Final Dawn quest is a reference to Mod Goblin's golden retriever, Gus. The dog Lola, found in Varlamore, is based on Golden Gnome winner and artist Presleek's adopted dog, who sadly passed away in late 2023. She was added to the game by Mod Skylark, who was happy to honour her in-game. Mod Skylark has also modelled other players' pets too, including a Samoyed. I would especially love to see this model in the game, as I have a mischievous Samoyed myself named Leo. If for some reason there's anyone at Jagex watching this, please make it happen. There's also Brody One Kenobi's dog Ziggy, who has somehow managed to find some broccoli. If you're in a clan, you may have noticed Hannibal taking a nap in your kitchen. He likes to sleep by the warm fire, and you can also feed him cooked fish, as that's what he prefers. Mod Elena was one of the devs for the clan hall, and Hannibal is based on her family's cat, who passed away a year before the clan hall was released. Raquel and Jem are also based on Mod Rach and Elena. In the Rogue's Den, you'll see Grace and Mark. Grace is the name of ex-mod Matt K's dog, and Mark is modelled after her. The Rogue's Den maze and owner is also a very clear reference to the UK game show Crystal Maze. I used to love watching this growing up. It was essentially a bunch of puzzles and physical games split into different sections of a map, one of which was medieval themed. The NPC who runs the maze, Brian O'Richard, is just Richard O'Brien backwards, who hosted the real show for the first few seasons, who you might also know as the creator of the Rocky Horror Show. The collection log has a whole bunch of references to JMod's content creator dry streaks and the community. You're also able to get different results depending on how many collection log slots you filled, and there's a few jokes thrown in too. One of the searches is Jad Slippers, which I guess a JMod really wanted in the game because the results come up as 1 day. Even though they're currently in the game, the text still hasn't been updated. Slepe is the medieval name for St. Ives, which is a market town near Cambridge where Jagex is based. If you visit the basement of a house in Slepe, you'll find a recreation of the Foreman basement from that 70s show. You can also find a gravestone nearby, which honours British YouTuber Total Biscuit with his iconic top hat. Inside the Ician graveyard on one of the gravestones, there is an inscription which reads, "Hope is the thing with the feathers" by E.D., which references the poem by Emily Dickinson. You'll also find a seagull nearby with the examine text reading "Hope." This seagull is unique in that it also drops a feather, just like the poem stated. Another gravestone's inscription reads, "Nostalgia is the side effect of dying" by John the Greenseer, which is a reference to author John Green's quote, "Depression is a side effect of dying." Throwing a ring into the wilderness volcano will have a goblin appear and shout "My precious," just like Gollum from Lord of the Rings. And the Sandwich Lady is based on a real person who visited the Jagex offices.
Were they entirely created out of fiction, these random events, or were they based off of actual people? Aside from, obviously, the wise old man you created.
Well, I've never actually met anyone I could call a drunken dwarf, because that would be quite rude.
That's unfortunate.
Sandwich Lady definitely was. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So, in the building before this marvellous, miraculous thing that we're in now, we used to be just over the road, and there were lots of very small offices. And the bigger we were getting, like...
We seem to have digressed from the sandwich.
Sorry.
Anyway, so because it was a kind of... it was a start-up building, really. So there were lots of companies there with small numbers of people. There was a canteen, and they would have a sandwich lady that would come round to all of the doors. And she would knock on the door, and she would announce herself in a very high-pitched, "Sandwiches!" like that. And that was our cue to get food. And what she did was she interrupted work. And so we took that as a concept for something that could happen to you in the game, where suddenly there was this sandwich lady who demanded that you identify her baked goods. And it was entirely based, the model, the character, the stuff that she was dressed in.
The baguette?
The way it worked was she went around the building in a certain order, and we at one point we were right at the start of her delivery route.
Yes,
and there was
you
had a good choice of different fillings. Later on, we moved to a different office, and we were right at the end of her delivery route, and about the only thing left would be like, I don't know, cucumber and cress sandwiches or something. Yeah. So if you asked her about any of the fillings which weren't there, you got.
Sure.
She kind of hit you with a piece of bread.
She didn't quite hit you, but
she was thinking it. We knew she was thinking it.
Did she ever find out? Do you think she?
We told her that she was in the game. Yeah, and there's been quite a few people over the years that we've added to the game, like friends or like friends of the game.
The baker from the north, I think. There was a guy from North's Bakery who used to come and sell pies outside our office every day. Yep. So the pie man in the Cook's Guild is a baker from the north.
Okay.
Yep.
It's nothing to do with Majorat at all.
You can find Wilhelm near Fossil Island, just like the movie Castaway. The word Gillinor is an anagram of religion. And the time on the clock above the Catherby Bank is the same as Back to the Future's Hill Valley Courthouse. In the last video, I mentioned that the Sears Bank booths can be decoded into the word items. And, well, I found another one. As Catherby is known for its fish, the bank booths can be decoded into the word row. Examining one of the piglets in the Draenor market has a reference to Austin Powers and says, "I shall call him Mini Pig." August, the hot air balloon pilot, is based on Picard from Star Trek, and Wesley, who crushes stuff for you in Nada, is a reference to Wesley Crusher, also from Star Trek. He will sometimes say "crush, crush, crush" like the song by Paramore. Reginald, Roy Jr. and a duck can be found camping in the Corrend woodland. All three are based on the British web series Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. Reginald's dialogue references Rush Hour 3 as well as Pokemon. If you're lucky enough to get a Chinchomper pet, then you have a 1 in 10,000 chance to turn it yellow when changing its colours, which looks suspiciously similar to Pikachu. Robert Boss is a painter that can be found near Land's End and is clearly based on Bob Ross. There's also a small chance that the painting inside Bob's Axe shop in Lumbridge is also another reference to Bob Ross's Distant Mountains painting. In the last video, I spoke about how spindle is just the Swedish word for spider, and the sailor Maud who takes you to Yatizo is Swedish for murder. Well, I got a lot of great comments pointing out even more direct translations, which I'm sure I'm going to mess up the pronunciations for. My absolute favourite comment that could just be a coincidence is the desert area of Polnivnich. When taking on the feud quest, you give a camel some red hot sauce and you have to collect its dung. Anyway, a commenter pointed out that in Irish or Scottish Gaelic, Pol means hole, and Nimnoch, or Nivnich, could be translated to hurt, sore, or poisoned, which could be a reference to what happens to the camel. Another couple of commenters pointed out that Venator is Latin for hunter and is also similar to the Romanian translation. Nex is Latin for death, and Latin is also regularly used in Zerosian names. Torva translates to fierce, Virtus translates to virtue, and at the moment Pernix is only in RuneScape 3, but that translates to swift. All 4 of the mages that are included in the next fight can also be directly translated from Latin, which will be on screen. The elves in Prif have a lot of their names and locations based on the Welsh language. Prifddinas is Welsh for capital city. The original homeworld of the elves before coming to Gillinor is named Tardiad, which can be translated to origin in English. Arnold Lidspor's surname is Norwegian for soundtrack. And one that could just be a coincidence is Falador being Portuguese for gossip or chatterbox. Tasakal on Mount Karulm is Estonian for the word balance. Mount Karulm is also based on the Ijen volcano from Indonesia, which has blue flames due to its sulfuric gas. Another viewer pointed out that a lot of content in Morytania and Darkmire is based on Hungarian words. Versinhaza translates to Theatre of Blood, Sotazeg to darkness, and Verzik to bleeding. We also showed off how when you talk to Imri when wearing a ring of Karos, he talks about his love of onions. And well, Imre is also a Hungarian name. I also showed off all of the strange scenarios that you can find yourself in when trying to smuggle the Karamja rum. As this video goes out, the wiki says that there is only one other possible way to smuggle the rum, but a few people left suggestions on other possible methods. Taking the rum through the Brimhaven crop circle takes you into Puro Puro. I was fully expecting a chat message to say that the rum was stolen by implings, but no. The trick is to then teleport out, enter Puro Puro again through Xanaris, and then exit with the rum where you're able to bank it. Another suggestion was to take the rum into the Nature Altar, teleport out, quickly get to the Guardians of the Rift, and then enter the Nature Altar again that way. When you leave, you're brought back into Guardians of the Rift again, instead of being back on Karamja, so you're able to bank it in the lobby. With that said, we're now able to add new information to the wiki, which is really nice, though I do wonder if Jagex is going to patch this. Another suggestion was to get a Gravedigger random event, as you're able to bank items there, but this isn't one that I can reliably test, so if you're able to hold onto some Karamja rum in your inventory while skilling, and don't mind waiting for this random event to test it, then let me know how you get on. I also talked about how the Dragon Plate was added as a joke item for those wanting the Dragon Plate body in the game, but I also forgot to mention the toy kite in RuneScape 3, which would have fooled people at the time into thinking Jagex was actually releasing the Dragon Kite shield. We also have a small couple of updates on the mystery fruit. It appears to be a reference to a devil fruit found in the One Piece anime. And not only that, but one of my viewers actually obtained a mystery fruit a few months ago, but had no idea how rare it was. At the time, we only knew of people obtaining a mystery fruit from coconuts and whiteberries, but this viewer got one from picking papayas. If you like this video on references hidden in RuneScape, then I can certainly make a few more of these, so leave a like and a comment to show your support. You'll also really enjoy the video on screen where I talk more about that ongoing unsolved mystery and show off a bunch of facts about the game that you probably didn't know about. I'd also like to thank my channel members. At the supporter tier, Henrik the Epic, Carl Henry, Skirt McGavin, Tom, Ciotos and CH Peterskin. And at the benefactor tier, Crimson and Dustus.